Okay, good evening again. My name is Rick Knox, and I'm the athletic liaison to the admissions department here at SCH Academy. It's a pleasure to have everyone on here tonight. I'm just going to play a quick video that is going to highlight some of our athletic facilities here on campus, and then we'll get started. And by the time I get the video on and played through, it'll give other people a chance that might be a little bit late to get here. So just bear with me one moment while I play that video. Okay, again, I see that we've had a few new families hop on. My name is Rick Knox, and I'm the athletic liaison to admissions here at SCH Academy, and welcome to our athletic info session this evening. Just to give you a quick heads up of sort of how the night is going to go here, I'm going to say a few words myself first, and then Dave Wilson, our athletic director, will speak for a minute. And then we have several student athletes here from varying sports and different grades and different levels of ability who are going to talk to you a little bit. And once that's over, we will go to a question and answer session. So again, just to get started, I'm Rick Knox, and I've been here professionally at SCH Academy for 19 years now. I teach 11th and 12th grade history. As I mentioned, I'm the athletic liaison to admissions, and then I'm also our head football coach. But I wear a few other hats than that. I'm also a Chestnut Hill Academy alumni, and I also have 3 children, 2 of whom have already gone all the way through the school and have graduated and are a junior and freshman in college. And then my son, Kyle, is a junior here at SCH. So that's my background with the school. And obviously, it's a long background. I've been here as long as I have and stayed here as long as I have because the school is really a second home to me. It's a second family to me, and it's always a pleasure to talk to families through the admissions process as they're coming to find out about the school. And that's why we're here tonight, is to get a little more of an in-depth look at our athletic program. So I just wanted to talk briefly about, what over the years, what to me makes our athletic program and what makes being a student athlete here at SCH such a special thing, and why so many student athletes have chosen us over the years. And I think number one, the reason I think SCH is a great fit for student athletes is it's just a great down-to-earth, very real world community here. So I think wherever you choose to go to school, you want to be excited to walk through those doors every day and feel really respected and feel like you are a key part of that community and feel just at home every day. And I know that this school has always been that way and is very strong right now in terms of our community. So that's number one. I think also you'd be remiss if you're not choosing a school as much of a student athlete and as a committed student athlete you are, if not for wanting a great education. And I would just say that our education is a really good mix of traditional education that private schools like this have always given, but I think where we're pretty unique is that we have a really good mix between that traditional but also much more progressive 21st century education that's really preparing kids not only for college but then also for life. And then what I would say about our athletic program and what I really respect and cherish about it is, number one, we're a smaller school, but we play at a very high and a very competitive level in really what's just an outstanding and amazing league, the Interact League. The Interact League is one of the most historic leagues in our nation. And no matter what level of competition you go to, what sport, what season, there's always something very special about an Interact game in terms of how high the level of competition is, but also the really good mix of sportsmanship with it. And the games are played the right way. So that would be the first thing that sticks out to me. When we look here at SCH, the other thing that I think really is a through line between all of our programs is winning and losing is important, but it's not the only thing that we're focused on. We're also very focused very much on character development and student athletes just having a great experience. So I think we have a really good mix of the desire to win games, but also mixed with the other life lessons that you can get out of sports. And when I think of all of our other coaches, I know they have a similar mindset to me there. The other thing is that it's a smaller school, as I just mentioned, so you are able to play here earlier and more often than some bigger schools. So, just speaking from a football perspective, we had several freshmen this year that contributed, right away to our varsity football season on special teams and even got some playing time. And I know that's not the case for much bigger programs. The other thing is we want student athletes to play multiple sports. As coaches, we encourage it. And that would also be something that's unique. More than anything, what high school athletics is all about, what high school is all about is having a great experience. And if you have the ability to play multiple sports, personally, I feel like you're going to, one, have a better experience, but it's also going to prepare you for those other seasons through the cross training. And again, every time you're in a competitive situation, I think it's just making you more ready for life as well. And so what I would just kind of say in closing here is, as I mentioned, I have 3 children that were all and are still, my son Kyle's a student athlete here. And I know that they reap the benefits of kind of everything that I just talked about there. And each one of them is a different student athlete. And the athletic program here really was met them right where they needed to be as student athletes. And I'm very happy that they had to get that experience here from SCH and our athletic program. And then just in closing, the other thing is, most student athletes want to join a high school and an athletic program because they want to have that great high school experience, but many also want to go on and play in college. And I would just say that we had our first signing day for college for our high school players that are signing to play in college just a week ago. And we had 16 members of our senior class who are already signed to go to Division I and Division II programs, which is a pretty special number when you think that our senior class is about 125. And I know that they're not only prepared to have great college careers, but they're also prepared to do really well in college, but more importantly, life. So anyway, that's all that I have for right now. I'm going to pass it off to Dave Wilson, our athletic director, next, and then we'll pass it on to our students. Dave.
Okay. Thank you, Rick. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us here to learn more about SCH and our athletic program. We have some great student athletes here who are going to speak later. This is my 7th year here at SCH. It's my 38th year, believe it or not, in athletics. I spent time at the NCAA Division III level, coaching and administrating, and also at the high school level. Our program, we offer 17 sports, and we sponsor about 70 plus teams between the middle school and the upper school. Rick mentioned we compete in the Inter-Academic League. It's commonly known as the Interact. It is the oldest, one of the oldest high school leagues in the country that formed in 1887. 9 schools are in that league, 6 boys and 7 girls. We also play in the PESA League, which is the Pennsylvania Independent Schools Athletic Association. There's about 26 schools in that league. That's the Interact schools, the Friends League, and also the G8, or all the boarding schools are in that. So those are the 2 leagues that we compete in. Our program, Rick mentioned at the top level, we want excellence, and we aren't afraid to say that. We want to try to be in the mix for championships at the Interact level. In the PESA level, we have great student athletes, awesome coaches, and that's ability based. We never want to sacrifice our sportsmanship and our relationships, but we definitely want to compete for championships. Our JV level and middle school level is more about participation based, where we're learning about skills, how to be a better athlete, and be part of a team. So that's kind of our program there. We require 2 seasons out of 3 with co-curriculars, athletics being one of those buckets. A few student athletes play 3. We have a few dozen who play 2, and a couple are here on the panel today. And then some play 1. The second co-curricular activity could be a robotics program, which is really first rate. our players program. We have a Fit for Life program, a community service program, and a PE program. So those are the ways you can get your requirements in the afternoon. And we consider them co-curricular. They're education-based. As Rick mentioned, we're learning how to be better people through sports in addition to striving for excellence. I guess what really drove me here to come to SCH was the community. We have really tremendous student athletes. Our families are just great families. The students are awesome to work with. And our coaches are first rate. They care about the student. They challenge and expect a lot from our student athletes, but they also encourage and support them. So I think we have a good group there. They stay current in their sport. A lot of them are tied into the club levels, which are important. So they do have a lot of people out there and a network of people they can talk with. So they are on the cutting edge of their sport. So there's that. I guess if you have any questions, I'll be around. Feel free to ask them of me. Who should I turn it over to next, Rick?
Sure. So we're just going to now go through alphabetically to hear from our student athletes by first name. So I'm going to start with Alex. Go for it, please.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alex Riley. I'm a senior at SCH. I came to SCH in 6th grade. I am committed to the University of Virginia for lacrosse, but I'm also captain of the girls soccer team and the girls lacrosse team. And then club, like what I'm involved in clubs is I'm a member of student council. I'm a lead ambassador. I'm on student leadership team, and I'm co-president of Student Athletic Advisory Council. A big thing for me is the people at SCH. I think both in school and also in sports, the people just make you want to come to school every single day. I wake up and want to be there. And I think, especially on the athletic side, I've made some of my best friends just being able to be a part of like the varsity level freshman year in both soccer and lacrosse. I made so many connections with the older girls, and being able to play at such a high level the minute I stepped on campus as a freshman has shaped me into the athlete I am today, because I was challenged so early on and I knew what it took to become like a next level athlete. But also I think it's the coaches, especially for me, since lacrosse is my main sport. I still didn't want to give up soccer. And since SCH requires at least 2 sports or some sort of 2 curriculars, playing soccer was a big part of all 4 years of my SCH experience, because aside from winning 2 state championships and Interact championships, it just allowed me to keep playing since I played my entire life. And it just developed me into a better lacrosse player and a better athlete in general, because I was able to continue playing multiple sports and not feel like I was burnt out with just playing lacrosse. But then also on the lacrosse side, I was able to build such a strong connection with our head coach, Noel. And the recruiting process is early, but I think since I was able to play at such a varsity level freshman year and in 8th grade, it allowed for me to have that recruiting process and have Noelle who was super helpful and beneficial in that process, because she knew me so well and she has so many connections, was able to talk to D1 coaches. She the coaches knew the league that I was playing in and the competition that we were going against. I mean, every single team in both soccer and lacrosse has so much talent, and just being able to have that connection with my head coach only helped with the recruiting process, and it's definitely brought me to where I am today. So yeah.
Alex, thank you very much for your insights. Awesome. Next up, we're going to go with Eloise.
Hi everyone, I'm Eloise and I am a sophomore at SCH. I play on the squash team, but since 2 sports are required, I'm doing track this year. Last year I did soccer, but the one thing that I love about SCH is that you don't have to be good at the sport. So squash is my main sport, and I do a second sport just to be on a team. So last year I did soccer. This year I'm trying out track, and some activities I do outside of squash for school is I'm on the robotics team, I do mock trial, and I'm on the Student Athletic Advisory Council, but I'm trying to join newspapers. So I'm definitely one that's involved in a lot of clubs. And one thing that I think is very important is time management. So because I'm a part of so many different activities, I have to spread out my time. And robotics is definitely time consuming, but I love how you can talk to the teachers to tell them and communicate when you can be there. Of course, I'm not as an active participant as some of the people that can spend until very late into the afternoon at the robotics lab because I have practice. I love how I can still be a part of that team without having to sacrifice my other activities. On the squash team, I love how it doesn't matter. There are a few girls that play outside of school for tournaments outside of school, but there are also a lot of girls that don't play at all. And I just think it's a really great sport for if you don't know what to do for a winter sport, it's just a great sport to play because we have varsity and JV practices that work together. And especially when I was a freshman last year and I came onto the team, I was very nervous because I mean, I had a sister on the team, which definitely helps, but a lot of the older girls were much bigger and better than I was. And I think just being on that team and you have one common goal just to get better just brings everyone together and it makes everything less nerve-wracking if you're new.
Yeah. Eloise, thank you very much. We're going to go to Grayson next.
Hi everyone, I'm Grayson and I'm a junior and I've been going to SCH since 8th grade. I'm on the girls soccer team here, and for my second sport, I go to the gym and I lift with Coach Aaron, who like plans out all these different workouts for us to do based on our sport, and we can go to him with anything that we want to get better with, and he will help us. And some clubs that I'm involved in at SCH are Honor Council, Student Athlete Advisory Council. I'm a student ambassador and a student facilitator, and then I'm also on Model UN. And one thing that I love academics wise about SCH is like how much the SCH community wants you to succeed. For our teachers, like we have a set time at the end of every day where it's kind of like office hours in college, where all our teachers stay after school and we can go to any of them and get extra help from them, which I find to be so helpful, especially as a student athlete when you don't have that much time. It's really helpful when your teachers want you to do so well that they will spend that extra time with you every single day if you need it. And then we have so many opportunities where if you do need that extra help, that you can go get it. Like we have the Student Resource Center, which is an area at our school where there's always a teacher in there and you can go in there and just get some work done because it's quiet in there. Or there's always a teacher in there where you can just get some extra help or feel more confident about something if you're ever struggling. And then athletics wise, I joined the girls soccer team when I was a freshman and I was the only freshman. So I was really nervous coming onto the team because I didn't know anyone and I was like, they were so much better than me and I was just so scared. But I think that was actually a blessing in disguise because it allowed for me to kind of come out of my shell and not be nervous anymore. And it also, I made so many upperclassmen friends that really helped me to like get to know the school and I could feel comfortable going to them with anything. And then my coach, like Alex was saying, my coach is she knows a lot about like the clubs in the area and stuff. So she's definitely an outlet that I can use for recruitment. And we have such a nice bond that any of us could go to her if we ever needed anything. So yeah, I love that soccer gives us that, or like sports in general give us that community.
Thank you very much, Grayson. We're going to pass it on to Howell.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Howell Bodie. I've been at SCH since my 8th grade year. The sports I play, I'm part of a baseball team. I'm the captain of the baseball team. I'm a lead ambassador. I'm part of student council because I'm a co-body student president alongside my sister, Kamoha'o, and I'm part of the senior leadership team. Why I love SCH is, like Grayson said, the community. It's very welcoming. We have a lot of community-based events that we have throughout the year. At the beginning of the year, we do have a day of convocation where every grade, all the way to ECC to the upper school, they come together at the football field, and we just celebrate the beginning of a fresh school year. So it's a nice reset from the previous year, as well as the Halloween parade where the seniors get with their buddies and just walk around and spend some time with them. And also the 2-sport requirement is what I love. Even though I only play one sport, I do recommend that upcoming students do two sports, because the relationships you can build from those sports, not just with your peers, but with the coaches as well. As Alex said, it's very it's very it's very nice to know that a trusted adult you can go to, if it's not an advisor or a teacher or your parent, you can go to them to talk about anything, just decompress with them. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to pass it over to Izzy next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Izzy Ford. I'm a sophomore. I came to SCH my 8th grade year, and I play field hockey, and this year I'm trying winter crew. Last year I did track managing. Some clubs that I'm involved in are Ambassadors and Black Student Union. The thing that I love most about SCH is the sports requirements. I think that it really brings people out of their shell. For me, I only played field hockey, so having to do something else really made me come out of my shell. For crew, like, that's new to me, and I'm excited to meet new people like outside of my friend group. And I think that's also really important, just meeting people that you normally wouldn't talk to. I think that really helps you in high school, and I think that's really important to have.
Thank you very much, Izzy. I'm going to pass it off to Tyler last. And then before Tyler gets started, I do have a few questions that were submitted in advance. We'll answer some questions, but also once Tyler's done, as people are listening, if they've had some questions that are percolating, they're welcome to type that into the question and answer tab there, and we'll get to those. So anyway, Tyler, you're up last. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Tyler Roberts, class of 2024. I'm a senior. Currently a 3-sport athlete. I play football, run track, indoor track, and I'm looking to play lacrosse this season, coming back. This year, our football team went 8-2, and we got to play for the Interact Championship. That was very heartwarming. What I like about SCH is that you feel very noticed. The classrooms are smaller. It's easier to learn. You have more friends. You have more options with friends. And the teachers, you get to learn a lot more. And there's less distractions within the classroom. And sports-wise, you can make many friends on any team. You see everybody in the school. There's not really a person that you don't know in the school. And whether you join any team or any sports team, you can see any friend or anybody. It's easy to make friends, and it's a very heartwarming community. So, yeah.
Thank you very much, Tyler. Just sitting here, obviously I've been at the school a long time, but hearing this group of students talk, just reaffirms to me why I work at a school like this and why it's a pleasure to work with student athletes like this. You guys brought up great points there, and it was a pleasure to listen to. I'm sure that everybody on the panel tonight is also thinking the same thing. So thank you to you all. I'm going to pop it over next. I do have a couple questions that came in advance, and then I see one more question has come in here. So if anybody has any questions, we're going to answer those now. So the first question that was sent in advance is as follows. So the person was interested in finding out more about field hockey and lacrosse, but more than anything, what it's like to be a novice or a JV player on those teams. And I think we could really expand that to, and a few of you already talked about this, but can you play a sport here if you've never played before? And what is it like being a younger player on the team? So if we want to ask that question, and again, I know some people already talked about that, but what's it like being a younger or more novice player on our teams here?
I mean, I will speak. I think being especially, I'm going to focus on lacrosse, but I know this goes for any sport. We are all extremely close. And I think that's something that's really unique and special to SCH, because even though I've been a part of the varsity level all 4 years, it doesn't mean that I'm separated from JV and we don't do anything together. And actually, specific to lacrosse, we all JV members and anyone who just started lacrosse, like everyone's involved in their film sessions. They if we have like anything like practice or prep, that we're in the same group chat for lacrosse. Like, we do everything together. And I think like some of my best friends are sophomores now because I just got so close with them last year. And I think that it just goes to show that, like, even if you just are starting, you can still be a part of something that big, and you can learn so much if you're involved and you get to experience what the varsity level girls and boys are experiencing, because it only makes you like stronger when it's your time and you're on varsity. And even if you're not, don't get to the varsity level, you still know what it takes to become that. And also it just lets you create more friends and relationships, and you're not so separated. And so I think especially for lacrosse, being together with both JV and varsity is part of our culture as a team, and it makes us who we are as a team, because we're all together and we can lean on each other, and it's just a really good opportunity.
Yeah, going off that, I don't have much knowledge with field hockey and lacrosse, but I can relate it to football. Football, JV and varsity practice together, and I can say that this season I've made friends with a lot of the younger guys, just being around them a lot. With football, JV travels with varsity, and varsity goes to JV games, so we all support each other, and it's all love.
Thank you, Tyler. Anybody else want to add to that question?
Going off of that, most girls on my field hockey team play lacrosse also. And my freshman year, we didn't have a JV team, but now we do. And we all practice together. We go to each other's games. Like, there's never a time when we're two separate teams, only when we're playing. I think that, I mean, at least for myself, I made a lot of friends this year, like for the freshmen. And I know that they have made friends with like upperclassmen. I think that we have a lot of team bonding, which helps everyone get to know each other. And we even are friends like outside the field. That helps like during school. We like all say hi to each other. I mean, I think like outside the sport, we all really connect. And I feel like that's really important when it comes to us playing on the field, that we're closer than just teammates. So I think that's also something that I love more about field hockey.
I would just add what I was talking about before, is that it's not a huge school here. So while we do have very competitive teams, especially the outdoor teams, there's not a sort of a space crunch. So if you've never played before, you can play and you can grow and learn with the program. Really, in every sport, you can start off brand new as a freshman, and by the time you're a senior, kind of work through and find yourself a niche on those programs while having this great experience and becoming a better player. So I know I've seen that really with every sport. So, and also I've seen it with football. So that's definitely a possibility here, because we're not the biggest school and don't have the biggest numbers on our teams. All right, I'm going to move on to the next question, which are there cuts, number one, and what are the practice hours? Mr. Wilson, you want to take the one on cuts?
I would love to. We try not to. We try not to. We want to include everybody on teams, but of course, as you can imagine, sometimes facilities dictate. So sports like squash, for instance, tennis, restricted with courts, we do have to make some decisions. We have our coaches always have an evaluation period, and then they have a conversation with a student athlete, telling them what they did well, what they have to work on to hopefully get to that level the next time. We've also started ninth grade / 10th grade or thirds teams. We've done that in baseball, basketball, or we keep a bigger JV team and have a couple games that are kind of a JVB. The volleyball team did that this year. So we want to, if you want to compete, we want to try to find a home for you to compete and a program for you to compete. I love it. Some kids try different sports, and that's always refreshing. And sometimes they take off on that sport. So with the 17 sports we offer, if you do get cut off of one, we can hopefully, you'll find another door will open up, one will shut, one will open up, and you're going to find something that will fit you. So, and then practice times, pretty much our middle school goes 3 to 4:15. That 3 to 3:45 time is the upper school SAS, or student academic support time. And then at 4:15, our upper schools start practicing until about 6 or 6:30.
Great, thank you. Have a couple questions that were sent in advance, and then I see that a new question also came in, so I'll get to that in a moment. But one of the questions was, how is it balancing the time that you're putting into athletics and also your academic time? So how have you guys been able to balance your academics and athletics?
For me, I think that the time that SCH gives you in school, like activities for clubs and activities, but for lunch, definitely, I do a lot of my homework during lunch, because after school, I have a lot of my activities like practices and robotics and other like mock trial. So I try to get all my work done, especially study halls. I try to use all my time. It's all about how you spend your time, like 3 hours doing not a lot of, like, not trying that hard on your work is just as good as doing 30 minutes of really good work. So if you sit down, and especially for me, I go to the SRC during my study halls and sometimes during lunch and just grind out all my homework so I don't have anything at home, or I have little homework so I can focus on stuff like just the sports for school and all my activities.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Also,
Anybody else want to chime in there?
yeah. Also, teachers are very like open and nice and flexible. You can literally email a teacher in advance if you need extra time, and they'll literally give it to you. So, yeah.
Also, I was just gonna add that like Wheezy said, having good time management is key. And I think it's one thing that's really special at SCH in the sense that we're given a lot of time, and it forces us, especially as student athletes, to use our time wisely. And I know like for a lot of us, we have to plan out in advance. Like if we're playing at Episcopal, we know that we're going to get home later. We need to use our time during school wisely. And I think like since freshman year on, being involved in sports and activities only helps you know that you need to use that time wisely and to recognize that, because we're given a lot of time. And if you do use your time, most of my homework and schoolwork is done in school. And then I just leave like studying or like finishing last minute like papers and like finishing touches on papers and projects at home. And then it just makes such a big difference, because when I go to practice, I know that like I'm not stressed out. I'm not thinking about, oh, I have so much work I need to do, but I can really focus on being with my team, practicing, getting all of like the technical work that we need to do to prepare for our big games coming up. And then when I go home, I already have a plan and know what I need to do to finish up a couple assignments. So I think just using your time wisely and knowing that it's only preparing us for when we have to go to college in the real world. So I think that's something that's special to SCH, that is forcing us to prepare and use the time that we are given.
And I just want to point this out, Alex, I'm guessing you're in numerous honors and AP courses. Is that correct? How many?
I take all honors classes besides one.
Okay. So
And
I just wanted to point that
two-
out there, that I just wanted to point that out, that, you know, Alex, as an example, my oldest daughter, as an example, was a student athlete who played multiple sports and was in multiple honors and AP classes. And sometimes you hear horror stories from other schools or other students about, you know, not having so much homework they couldn't go to bed till 1 or 2 in the morning. But I think what Alex is pointing out here, student athletes do have a good amount of time during the day and before practices, and they're really able to help learn those time management and study skills to be effective, so that, you know, they're not overburdened that way.
Also, as Alex and Tyler said, another thing that's crucial to SAS or sports and education is communication. So if you don't talk to your teachers in advance, of course they'll understand. They'll give you maybe a mulligan. They'll give you another chance. But it's definitely key, not only the teachers but your coaches as well. So I know on my part, last year I had a lot of work, and I emailed my coach, "Okay, I'm gonna be late, 15, 30 minutes late," and then he said it's okay, because our label is student athlete, so our school comes first before our sports. So definitely communication.
Great point. Thank you. So we had one other question just came in that just asked to share a little bit of information about the volleyball program. So Dave, do you mind talking about that one? I know you started talking about the volleyball program already. Just some general information about volleyball.
Yeah, great. No, yeah, like I said, we had a lot of kids this year have been playing for the last couple of years. So we had kind of a big JV that had some kind of second kids played a schedule, and the other kids played a schedule. So we kind of split the schedule there a little bit. Volleyball program is getting better. We have a great coach in Dave Knoll. We had 2 new assistants this year, both immersed in the club scene. Our record wasn't great. We had a lot of close games, but you can see we're getting better. And as a Notre Dame coach said, who's won it for, I think, 8 years in a row, Germantown won it this year, but he said, you guys are the up and coming team. So it's a good program. We have some good coaching there and some great players. Some are club players, some are not, but it's really, they're fun to watch too. I hope that helps. And more, should I say more of that program, or?
If the person who wrote that in wants to hear more, please put that in the question and answer.
Yeah.
But hopefully that was helpful. That's what you were looking for there. So I went through the questions that we had here in advance, and then I got those couple questions. The one last question we do have is just about how does the college recruiting process work for our student athletes here, and how do your coaches help you with that? I don't know if any of the students want to hop in there first, and then I'm off for happy to give my perspective also.
I will go first. So I always say this when I'm giving tours to families, but if we look at like our college counseling program or like classes at school, we are given our college counselor our second half of our sophomore year at SCH, which is actually very early compared to other schools. And it's actually really nice because the college recruiting process is different years for different sports. And so like for me, committing really early on in my junior year, it was helpful to have already built a connection with my college counselor in the middle of my sophomore year, because if I needed a transcript sent over to a college or a scan of anything, I was able to just email my college counselor, or my mom or dad could email, and then it was just given right back or something was sent. So for the school stuff, I think that is just really special to SCH because we're able to build that connection. And then for the recruiting process for sports, I know lacrosse specifically, high school season is very important, almost just as important as club. And it is really special to be able to play in such a highly competitive league with so many other really talented athletes and against so many talented athletes. And I think that our coaches know that, and the coaches at SCH want to put kids in high level, whatever division we want to play in as athletes. So for me, Coach Noel, the lacrosse coach, was really, really helpful in guiding me and advocating for me, and pushing me to strive to be the best and to also like achieve what I wanted to achieve. So I think if you want to play college sports, and your coach will believe in you and they will guide you to that path.
So I would just give
Sorry.
my okay. Get Eloise. No, go for it.
Thank you. One thing that I'd like to say is, so for squash recruitment, it happens later. It happens in junior year. But I just know that from what I've seen all the girls on the team go through is that it's definitely stressful to know all the colleges like are watching you, like, and that's where the team aspect comes in. So when girls in our team go play, and for squash, it's tournaments that college coaches see. And when girls in our team go fly to tournaments and go to different tournaments around the country, we all have this group chat where we just support them. And definitely having the support of your team and your school coach, like morally, is definitely nice because of how stressful it can be.
Great point. Thank you. So I would just say, as you know, one of the coaches here, I feel very confident saying this, that all of us have a very similar mindset about helping our student athletes with college recruiting. So, you know, if you're passionate about your sport and feel strongly about your sport, you want your student athletes to feel the same way, and you want them to have the opportunity to take that to the highest level that they can. So I know that I personally feel that helping our student athletes get to the college level and trying to achieve their goals there is a very important part of my job. And I would say that all our coaches feel the same way, that we want to support our student athletes to be able to go play in college, because obviously that one is going to, you know, speak volumes about our program. But also those, once they're alumni, coming back and talking to our current students about, you know, the college careers and how that is, it adds to the health of any high school program, and just adds to how vibrant the program is, really. If there's this ability to move on and play in college, that you then have college players coming back and talking to your high school kids about what that experience is like. And so I look at it as, you know, I want to do everything I can to help my student athletes get there. So really what that's all about is just having a good relationship with the families, making sure to educate them on what is the college recruiting process for your sport, because every sport is a little bit different that way. And then just helping them navigate that, even, you know, down to like our football season just ended, and football is still very traditional in the recruiting sense, and that a lot of recruiting is still going to happen right now for our seniors. So, you know, the first thing I did this week is, you know, got the email out and started sending messages to college coaches and talking to our players about where they're hoping to go, and making sure that I know as much as possible what the scene is for each player and help facilitate that. So, and I feel confident that all our coaches feel the same way. All right, let me see if there's any last questions that came in. No other questions have come in, and I went through the list that we already had. So unless anybody has any last questions, I'll give it a moment and see if something pops up in the question and answer as I wrap up here. I just wanted to thank all of our panelists tonight. Student athletes, you guys were awesome. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate everyone being here. And feel free to reach out if any questions about the athletic program to myself or Mr. Wilson, and or if there's any admissions questions, obviously to reach out to myself or Carly D'Amato, the head of upper school admissions. Again, thank you everyone for being here, and have a great night.